Some villains you defeat, and the story ends. But the Lich is not like that. He is not an enemy. He is the embodiment of death, decay, and oblivion. He is the complete opposite of life, light, and hope. When he first appeared in the episode Mortal Folly, he destroyed the peaceful landscape of the Ooh realm. Even Finn and Jake, when they first saw him, thought they were just facing an enemy. But he is a force that destroys everything around him with his very presence. His every step drains the energy from living beings around him. Every breath he takes forces life to fade. When you look into his eye sockets, you literally see nothing. There is only emptiness, fall, decay, corruption. These three words represent him. For him, these words are actually his philosophy of life. Even though Finn and Jake tried to stop it many times, the Lich's power is not just a physical threat. It also corrupts thoughts, destroys even the smallest glimmer of hope, and renders those around it powerless. Although it was temporarily stopped by Prismo and the Time Room's intervention, the Lich's evil never disappears, because it is an inevitable catastrophe born from Ooh's own darkness. In Mortal Recoil, its plans become even clearer. Its goal is to end all life. Finn and Jake's heroic deeds only create a short-lived and temporary obstacle. The Lich's purpose never changes. It is the embodiment of complete annihilation. Even in alternate universes, even in Farmworld, Lich's influence remains the same. Every choice and change that occurs does not diminish his power. On the contrary, he is always a dangerous threat standing against life. The Lich's physical characteristics symbolize its nature. For example, its skeletal face, vacant eyes, decaying body. In short, every detail of its body is a symbol of decay and death. It stands against Finn and Jake's pure goodness, trying to destroy their hopeful hearts. Its presence is not just a physical battle, but also a catastrophe that takes over the mind and soul. In Mortal Recoil, wishes, time manipulation, and Prismo's influence cannot change the Lich's existing purpose. Every scene reminds us that death and decay are inevitable. The cheerful world of Ooh is ruled under the shadow of the Lich and is constantly under threat. In fact, this is only the beginning. The Lich's secrets, origins, and true purpose open the door to a dark and terrifying journey in the land of Ooh. The source of Lich's power lies hidden in the dark past of the world he inhabited. In fact, it all begins with the Mushroom War. The Mushroom War was a catastrophe created by human civilization itself. Nuclear weapons exploding, advanced technology spiraling out of control, cities being destroyed. Ooh's current strange and fragile nature began to take shape after this war. And it was the energy of that catastrophe that gave birth to the Lich. He is not just a monster. He is the embodiment of humanity's own destruction, death, and devastation. The scars of this war fuel the Lich's power and make him nearly invincible. Lich's emergence falls like a dark stain upon an innocent and delicate world. Plants withered, the sky darkened, shady areas faded. His every step brings disaster, not only physically, but also metaphysically. He rises as an entity that threatens life itself. Its skeletal structure, sunken empty eyes, long and thin fingers, all are symbols of the radiation and death energy after the Mushroom War. It is not just a villain. It represents chaos, death, and nothingness. Even when we look at Farmworld and alternative universes, the Lich's origin remains unchanged. Its energy remains a catastrophe that persists even across different time periods. It always appears as a threat to life and an inevitable catastrophe. The energy generated after the Mushroom War does not only make the Lich physically powerful, it allows him to manipulate minds, souls, time, and reality. The heroes of Ooh can only put up a brief and temporary fight against him, because the Lich's existence is a force against life itself. His presence shows us how fragile life is. Finn's courage, Jake's efforts. In short, nothing can find a lasting solution against the Lich's true purpose. The colorful, fun side of Ooh is constantly threatened by the Lich's dark rule. And that is why the Lich is one of the darkest and most unforgettable characters, not only in Adventure Time, but in all of modern animation history, because he is the embodiment of the disaster, death, and destruction that humanity has created with its own hands. He is inevitable, he is invincible, and he is always the ultimate threat standing against life. Born from the catastrophe of the Mushroom War, this entity never ceases to cast a shadow over Finn and Jake's adventures. In every scene, we feel the Lich's presence, because he is not just a villain, he is also a symbol of life's dark side. The Lich's power is not only physical. His every move drains the life energy around him. His every glance shatters innocent hopes. Finn and Jake must fight the Lich not only with physical strength, but also with intelligence and time manipulation. The fact that they have to use Prismo's time room shows that the Lich's power exceeds normal limits. It can deceive wishes, bend reality, and even manipulate the existing flow of time. When examining the scenes in Mortal Recoil, the Lich is not just a warrior, but a strategist. He can even turn Ooze heroes into toys in his own game. His mental and metaphysical abilities are as terrifying as his physical strength. His power is not limited to destroying those around him. Once he appears, he also destroys hope, faith, and courage. His versions in Farmworld and alternate universes demonstrate that his power is universal. The Lich's goal never changes: to end life, spread chaos, hatred, and disorder, and bring about the ultimate catastrophe. The decay and death energy within his body are not only a purpose, but also a source of power. In every scene, the Lich is not merely a physical entity, but the embodiment of death and nothingness. Ooze creatures are constantly threatened by the energy discharges and destruction around them. Plants begin to wither, rocks crumble, the air grows heavy, and the atmosphere is completely corrupted. And all of this is reflected in its character. His skeletal face, empty eyes, thin, long fingers, and agile movements are symbols of death and destruction. Every detail represents the Lich's purpose in life, which is to end life. The Lich's power alone can threaten the universe. Prismo's intervention, wishes, and time manipulation can stop him. But these interventions only offer a temporary solution, because the Lich's power feeds off the universe itself and continues to exert its influence under any circumstances. Thus, the Lich becomes not just an evil character, but an entity representing the dark side of OO and its viewers. Confronting it is not just an adventure, it is also the beginning of life, death, and the real catastrophe. That is why understanding the Lich means understanding Oo's darkest secrets, the catastrophe created by the Mushroom War, and the fragile side of life. His power reminds us, even in a children's cartoon, that death and destruction are inevitable. Every time we watch him, we feel a sense of dark and inevitable dread. The Lich's outward appearance is a direct reflection of its inner nature. Its skeletal face and empty eye sockets represent the end of life and nothingness. The decay on its body symbolizes the fragility of Oo and the entire universe. The Lich casts a shadow of death and chaos over a colorful and joyful world seen through the eyes of a child. Every detail carries a metaphysical message. Life is fleeting, hope is short-lived, and disaster is always near. Fall, decay, corruption are not just his words, but the very essence of his being. The Lich is not just a destructive force. It is also a metaphor that rots hopes and pollutes thoughts. Finn's courage, Jake's determination, even these are only a temporary defense against it. Because the Lich's goal is not just physical destruction, it is to destroy mentally and spiritually. Born after the Mushroom War, this entity is a dark symbol for the entire universe. Even in Farmworld, its alternate versions convey the same message. Life is a thin line against death. Every scene carries a philosophical message. Inevitable disaster stands directly opposite life. The existence of hope and goodness is only a temporary shadow. The Lich's existence reminds us that death, annihilation, and nothingness are inevitable. The Lich is not just an evil character, but Oo's philosophical darkness. Every scene, every dialogue, every movement tells of the inevitability of life and death. The Lich's symbolism is felt throughout all his adventures. Oo's cheerful face is constantly threatened under the Lich's dark rule. And this is Adventuretime's darkest message. Chaos always exists, and defeating some powers is nearly impossible. The Lich's dark world is not limited to the universe he inhabits. It continues to pose the same threat even in alternate universes and different realities. Even in an alternate universe created by Prismo's wish, the Lich still makes its presence known as always. Here too, its purpose remains unchanged: to end life. Because the Lich's essence is clear and universal, no matter what time period or world it is in, its true purpose remains the same and unchanging. The Farmworld Lich is depicted in an even more terrifying manner. Human civilization still exists there, but the Lich's shadow is so powerful that it has destroyed that world as well. Its presence signifies the same thing in every universe. chaos and death are inevitable. Alternative Finn, or Farmworld Finn, loses his way under the Lich's influence. This shows us that the Lich can destroy worlds not only physically, but also spiritually. In every universe, every time period, and every reality, the same threat, the same catastrophe, is relived. Farmworld's story reveals that the Lich is not just the villain of a single universe. It is also a much greater catastrophe. His reign of darkness officially determines the fate of different worlds. Therefore, the Lich is not just the enemy of Wu, but the true enemy of every part of the Adventure Time universe. Lich has been stopped countless times across different universes, yet he has never been completely destroyed. Finn and Jake's struggle, Prismo's many interventions, the altered fates of alternate universes. In short, none of these have been able to completely erase the Lich's very essence. Even when defeated, the Lich never gives up and returns, because it is not a body or a personality. The Lich is death and oblivion itself. Destroying its body is merely cracking its shell. Its essence always persists in a different place, at a different time. When we examine the Lich's final scenes, we realize there is no definitive answer in them. Has it been completely destroyed? Or has it simply vanished into the shadows? This uncertainty is the most terrifying aspect of its character, because the Lich continues to loom as a persistent threat, not only within Wu, but also within our own minds. Perhaps the real question we should be asking is, will it ever completely disappear? Or will it become an inseparable part of existence? Perhaps we will learn the answer to this question one day. Or perhaps we will never learn the answer to this question. The Lich managed to become one of the most unforgettable characters in the Adventure Time universe. Perhaps to most people, the Lich appeared to be just a villain, but he was not. He was a symbol of the dark side of the universe's existence. From the Lich's story, we understand this. Behind every glimmer of hope lies a shadow. Behind every hero lies a looming disaster, and every life is tested by death. Thanks to the Lich, Adventure Time's colorful and fun world gained a whole new depth. He became one of the darkest beings in animation history, and his dark legacy may have left everyone who watches with the same question. Can darkness truly be defeated, or can it only be postponed?